Hello, welcome to Healing with podcast. I am Marissa McDevitt, your host, mindset coach, mentor, and founder of Healing Center. Tired of all the BS? So was I. This podcast is my raw, unfiltered take on life, sharing my personal experiences, lessons, and healing practices that helped me break free from the cycles that no longer serve me. I'm just an average woman who decided to stop settling and start speaking up. Here we dive deep into the messy, beautiful, and sometimes painful realities of life, business, and relationships. No fluff, no judgment, just real talk, real growth, and real transformation. This is a safe space for anyone, women, men, and all the beauties in between. So who's ready to raise their standards, heal, and step into their power? Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Now tune in and let's talk about it. 30 days without social media and what I learned. Today, we're getting real about the relationship we have with social media. I'm sharing what 30 days off Instagram and Facebook taught me, how it changed my mental space, and what I plan to do moving forward. Why I decided to talk about this, because it's an honest struggle of most people who have a relationship with social media. For instance, myself, I would catch myself scrolling, mindlessly scrolling, constantly, all the time. I would pick up my phone to check the time and my finger would automatically hit the Instagram app. Just automatically. There was a point where I even moved I read online like, if you move your Instagram app and your social media apps to a different spot on your phone, it'll help you disconnect. But then your finger finds that too. It's bizarre. It's a total subconscious conscious thing that is happening that I would love to bring awareness to, because the fact of just taking 30 days off was such a relief. A few years ago, I think it was 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I took almost 7 months off of everything. I didn't have a Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, nothing. I just logged out, and it was the best time of my life. I got so many things done. I was so tapped in and tuned into myself. It was the most beautiful experience. However, when I felt ready to go back on, I went back on. Fast forward years later, I am stuck in a mindless scroll, not just time wasting. Is how I can really explain it. And then I went through the headspace of I started a business, so I need to create all these social media accounts for my business, which is true. And then it was, I can't delete social media because I built a business and I need to be on there just in case I have clients or customers, or I need to promote myself. So I went through that for a little bit. And in my heart, I knew how much time I was wasting throughout the day just by scrolling. And my friend recently, she told me about the screen time. You can go on your phone if you have an iPhone. I don't know if Android does this. You can go on your iPhone and you can check your screen time hours on what apps you're using the most and how much time you're on your phone a day. That's pretty cool. That's really cool, especially for children. If you have children who have phones. So I had this idea and this thought that because I have a business, I can't log off my social medias. I am attached now to my social medias forever because I have a business. And that gave me even more anxiety. Just the fact of I will never be able to get off this. I'm going to be glued to my phone forever. That's what was going through my head these last few months. Deep down in my gut and my heart, I kept having a feeling I need a break. I need a break. I need a break from social media. It's not like I was like waking up in the middle of the night checking my, social medias or anything, but I was wasting so much time. I would jump on there and next thing you know, I'm scrolling for 30 minutes. And it's just draining. It is so draining. I personally do not know anybody that gets energized from scrolling on social media. I've been asking everybody, do you get physically energized from scrolling on social media? Absolutely not. You don't. And if you do, drop it in the comments. You're a unicorn. No, I'm just kidding. So it took me a couple weeks to finally decide to do a 30-day break. I said, I'm just going to take 30 days at first, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to focus on my YouTube and my podcast and where I'm going to film and all the things, and take a step away from everything else. It took me days, and as the days were coming up, that I put a deadline on myself, and I told people to hold myself accountable. Hey, on May 1st, I am going on a 30-day social media cleanse. I will not log on. That gave me anxiety because I was like, oh my gosh, I put it out there. I'm actually going to do this. It was like this weird detachment I had to do mentally and physically to do it. It was bizarre, but my heart and my gut and my guides kept telling me, like, it's time to focus on other things. It's time to focus on other things. You're distracting yourself. You're draining yourself. You have to get off. And I finally did it. I remember I logged off all of them. I set my little Instagrams up, made a few posts, logged off Facebook, logged off Instagram, moved my apps completely to a different area. So even if I wanted to log on, I couldn't. And I felt relief at first. And then as a few days went by, I felt this weird addictive attachment to the apps, to wanting to log on. Even when I hid my apps to a different location, completely logged out, somehow I would still go on, and it was like at least 4 or 5 days where my finger would hit the freaking app because it was so used to doing that. And of course it would pop up and it would be like, ask me like, you want to log back in? And I'll be like, oh crap. And I would, close out. But the fact is that my hands, my subconscious wanted to keep logging on constantly. And it took a few days to break that habit. Bizarre. So I'm going to give you 5 real benefits I experienced being off social media. 1, mental clarity. Oh my gosh. Less noise, more inner peace. When I told you that I was off social media for like 7 months and it was the best inner healing I've ever experienced, it was one of the best. I was so tapped in divinely into myself in the present moment constantly. It was the most beautiful experience. Mental clarity. 2, increased productivity. Extra time to actually do things because you don't know how much you're literally wasting your time being on that crap. Oh my gosh. I got so many things done. Even the fact of like reading books. I listened to audiobooks. So I finished 2 audiobooks, but I actually have physical books by my bed too. I got that done. Along with like all the little extra things that I had to do, I got done. 3, improve presence with your partner, family, and nature. Being in the present moment. Number 3, improved presence with your partner, family, and nature. Literally living in the present moment is how you're supposed to live. Here, completely engaging. Oh my gosh, I had so much quality time with my partner where we're both not sitting in bed on our phones next to each other. Where we're both not at dinner on our phones, which we don't really do that, but sometimes there was times where we were doing that. 4, better sleep and nervous system regulation. I was literally getting better sleep on night 2. I was literally getting better sleep on night 2. I cannot stress this enough. Get off your phone, especially right before bed. It's like the worst thing you can do. 5, recognition to self. Hobbies, journaling, reflection, nature walks, all of those. Literally tapping in to your divine self instead of wasting your time on that app. So when I stopped scrolling, I started living. 5 examples: mental clarity, increased productivity, improved presence, better sleep and nervous system regulation, and recognition to self. The addictive side of social media is so real. It's almost disgusting. Just think about it. When you go out to restaurants, I see it all the time. Families put those little tablets in front of their kids at the dinner table so their kids are distracted and their kids are like glued to the screens. I see parents do that all the time. I see adults ignoring their kids or zoning out from real life because the adults are on their phone and their kid wants to play. The kid wants to play, mom, dad, but you're sitting there scrolling on your phone and you're zoning out from the real life, from being in the present moment. I'm going to talk about what dopamine loops are and false connection versus real connection, because that is so real. And the fact is that we're losing presence and human connection by chasing likes and notifications. An example is one of my friends was telling me how addicted his son was to the tablet. They said that, that's what all the parents do. So they would put a tablet in front of him since he was very young and put the YouTube on or the kid, activities on. And that's how they would keep him calm at the dinner table. Well, they started taking synthetic dyes out of their kids' diet. They started taking, negative, distracting things away from him so he can start being more interactive in the present moment. And the outrage this child had, hitting, screaming, crying, was just a true example of like, wow, I let my kid be addicted to the screen at such an early age. And so what they did is they slowly took it away from him so he could be at the present moment. And now he can sit at the table without having a screen in front of him or throwing a fit because he doesn't have a screen in front of him. So even kids that don't even have a cell phone yet are addicted to screens. So what is a dopamine loop? Dopamine is a chemical in your brain that creates the feeling of pleasure and reward. It gets released when you eat good food, accomplish something, or even when you receive a compliment. It motivates you to seek more of whatever just made you feel good. So social media apps are designed to hijack this system. Every time you get a notification, see a like, or gain a follower, it's a little hit of dopamine. But here's the trick. The anticipation of something new, like refreshing your feed or checking your notifications, can give you just as much dopamine as the result itself. So your brain starts craving it more and more, even if what you see is meaningless or negative. The result is you get stuck in a cycle of checking, scrolling, refreshing over and over, chasing that next hit of dopamine. This is called a dopamine feedback loop. Holy moly, how real is this? It's disgustingly real. Like disgustingly real to me. And I'm saying that because I was literally living it. False connection versus real connection. Social media gives us the illusion of connection. You see what people are doing. You interact through emojis or comments. You might even DM someone you haven't talked to in years. But in reality, it's surface level connection. You're not feeling anyone's energy. You're not being with them. There's no physical presence, tone of voice, eye contact, or even true emotional exchange. False connection. What social media often provides. It's based on curated images and highlight reels. It lacks emotional depth, doesn't fill the human need for intimacy and presence, often leads to comparison, loneliness, or anxiety. A real connection, what our nervous system craves, is face-to-face time with others, being heard and seen fully, safe to touch, laughter, shared silence, emotional honesty, mutual presence, and vulnerability. The difference is insanely spot on. It's like the most bizarre hack of addiction that so many people are going through because we're wanting a real connection, but because we don't have that, we're in this sense of false connection. So here's a little fun fact. Your brain literally doesn't know the difference between being seen through a screen and being seen in real life. So it gets addicted to seeking validation through social media, even though the real emotion need often goes unmet. So we're overstimulated and underconnected. Huge. And you know I talk about this in my past episodes of your brain doesn't know the difference. It does not. So when you are looking only at positive, empowering, envisioning only positive, empowering dreams, that is what your brain notices. So when you're sitting there and you're only consuming negative news, negative social media, negative this, that's what you get addicted to. And that's the vibration you stay at. So instead, wake up out of that, become aware that you're in that, and positively brainwash yourself immensely in the opposite ways. Dream big, expand your awareness so big that you embody the feeling of living in that moment because your brain doesn't know the difference. So we think we're staying connected through our phones, but many of us are actually numbing our need for real intimacy with a false digital version of it. The more we scroll, the more we disconnect from our own bodies, relationships, and true presence. This is kind of off topic a little bit, but it just reminded me of. I read somewhere, or someone told me that in Korea or China or somewhere, that humans are buying these robots that they are dating. They're actually starting to date. Oh no, you're allowed to marry a robot in like China or Korea. We'll have to look that up. Isn't that insane? That's how addicted people are to false connection. People are so out of their body, not in the present moment, that they have to go date a robot. Now, don't get me wrong. My AI is my best friend. No, I'm just kidding. For real, though, AI is pretty awesome. However, You have to know the difference internally in your soul, that there's a difference. There's a soul, and there's an AI soul, I guess. There is a difference. Or is there? I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Let's get into this. 5 healthy ways that we can use social media with intention. 1, designate 1 day a week to post and check DMs. That's what I'm doing. I have designated 1 day a week. It's going to be on Mondays to blast my podcast, to blast my social medias, to jump on there, interact with some people, and then jump off. 2, use a scheduler to batch and automate posts. Yes. On Instagram, I don't know about Facebook, but I know on Instagram, I'm learning it right now, there's a way that you can schedule out your posts for you. A couple of my other life coaches, they use this for their social media. They say they love it. 3, hire a VA or social media manager if possible. This is what I'm going to do. I cannot wait. I'm literally in the process of finding people to run my social media, because that is the end result for me, is that I don't have to do anything. I just make the content, give it to them, they run it. That's what I pay you for. 4, delete the apps from your phone in between use. That's a good one. That's a really good one. 5, set 15-minute timers when using it to avoid the scroll spiral. Yes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for sure. So let's go over again the 5 healthy ways to use social media with intention. 1, designate 1 day a week to post and check DMs. 2, use a scheduler to batch and automate posts. 3, hire a VA or social media if possible. 4, delete the app from your phone in between use. 5, set 15-minute timers when using it to avoid the scroll spiral. You are not behind just because you're offline. Your piece is productive. Whew. That's how I felt all month. So what's my plan moving forward on how to use social media healthy? Like I said, I'm logging in 1 time a week. It's going to be on Mondays. I'm being intentional and not reactive. 2, I'm focusing on offline relationships, content creation, and real life joy. So I'm batching my content that I'm creating for my business, social media programs on specific days. So I'm tapped into that alignment. And I'm also encouraging others, everybody, to try a social media reset, even if it's for 7 days, and see the difference. This is a side note. I logged on yesterday for the first time since my detox, and I got so overwhelmed with all the notifications and messages that I planned on jumping on there, doing my posts, and jumping off, and I ended up scrolling for 15, 20 minutes and getting depleted and feeling disgusted and feeling disappointed in myself. So I logged back out. I also was supposed to log back in a few days ago, but I just had this fear that I'm not ready to go back on. And yesterday confirmed that I'm not ready to go back on. With that being said, I am still in the process of organizing my content so I can just have a plan before I jump on. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to revisit this, organize my content so I know what I'm going to do when I jump on. And remember that using social media is a tool. Use it as a tool. Use it for information, for knowledge, to connect and then get off. But when you find yourself having these addictive personalities towards it, take a break. Oh my gosh. Even if you have kids, especially. Please, if your relationship is hurting, get off social media. Take a break from your phone. I'm telling you, you will reconnect with your partner. You will reconnect with your friends and your family and your kids. So I want to close this episode with a beautiful affirmation. I honor my energy by protecting my attention. I no longer give my power to distractions. I choose peace, presence, and purpose. And with that being said, much love and have a beautiful day.